I feel a bit embarrassed because for the first time I've given my video a clickbaity title, so sorry for that. But it's true, I'm leaving.
The beginning of my YouTube channel had constant changes between pure vlogs, cam gear reviews, a handful of After Effects tutorials, and even travel vlogs. Until the pandemic brought a disruptive change. Not only for me, because
many of you are forced to work at home now. Some of you may be struggling already. At least you're worried about the future. As a freelancer, I'm already thinking about my whole situation.
Unable to vlog freely, I did what I could do best in a closed room: After Effects. Although the crisis was long over, I kept enjoying it inside, even when the vlogger in me couldn't resist going outdoors sometimes. Yet, the more I worked from this office, the more I felt isolated. This needed to change.
This room and the corner behind me has been the central setting for most of my YouTube videos, especially After Effects tutorials. If you're an early subscriber, you may have witnessed how I moved in here and settled in. But now it's time for me to leave this all behind and transition into something new.
Dismantling things I can't let go of is not easy for me, but to make way for the new, it helps me to give up items from the past, even from the heyday, to separate from your belongings, even if they hold special memories, to clean up after yourself, both figuratively and literally. Although I hate the latter, thankfully there are loved ones around who want to make your life easier.
The world is in an ongoing change right now, on every level. And yes, AI is one of those hot topics. I find AI and generative art in specific super fascinating, especially when I first started exploring generative art for motion design. You may have watched my tutorial series about it. But I'm still an old school guy. I grew up in the 80s, and believe it or not, I'll be 50 years old next year. And there is something deep inside me that wants to go the opposite direction. AI isn't the main reason why I need a change, but it's definitely the tipping point. I guess I get a bit sentimental. This room has served me well.
Ready for change.
So, here we go. This is the entrance, and this is the wonderful cafe. It's empty right now because it's Friday evening. Here is the lift. Let's not be lazy and take the stairs instead. You need a code to enter the area. And now we're going straight to my office. My workstation already set up. And guess what? Already working on an After Effects tutorial. Welcome to my new office.
Before I dive into what this place is and why I chose it, let's talk about AI and what I would do if I were you, from the perspective of an elder motion design freelancer.
This and also this are representative items for disruptive changes I've experienced in my creative career so far. It's really a bummer that I don't have my Commodore C64 with me now. Probably, I guess, these are things that you've only seen in the museum. For example, this beta videotape. At the beginning of my professional education, that was in 1995, I used them to edit videos linearly. Analog. Shortly after, I was completely stoked by the emerging digital nonlinear editing. First with Adobe Premiere LE, a bit later with Avid Media Composer.
Video editing is as simple as word processing. Now that was too easy. It's an Avid.
Tough luck for the established linear editing veterans. This is, by the way, an old Avid hard drive I kept. And here's another groundbreaking event for me, my first showreel from 2004 with student projects. I was shortly before graduating. Some of it was made in 3D Studio Max, but mostly created in After Effects 4.0. This was the time when After Effects replaced the bigger graphic machines like Quantel, Paintbox, Henry, Harry, which was good for me because I started a job in broadcast design. Tough luck for the veteran studios like Peter Sullivan, who famously created top-notch title openers, but sadly closed because smaller boutiques could do the same in After Effects. Nope, this is not the Paintbox. And now we're witnessing another disruptive change in the creative industry. Sora. This time, I'm the veteran. Tough luck for me, and even tougher luck for you. If you're starting your creative career, then I encourage you to jump on the AI bandwagon. Try things out. Be innovative with it. Be the first to create a new look, even if you spend a lot of time in learning it. And even when you learn something today which will be obsolete tomorrow because a better AI workflow comes out, it doesn't matter. You're young, you have all the time in the world. This simply makes you future-proof. I learned freehand, which was later replaced by Adobe Illustrator. I learned Softimage XSI, which was discontinued, and I even used 3D Studio Max for almost 15 years until I switched to Cinema 4D. What I want to say is that it was only beneficial for me to get a broad experience and knowledge. When you're in the midst of your career, then be open-minded, be flexible, adapt to the new situation. It's been happening in other branches too. There was a time when inserting text titles for thousands of lower thirds manually and rendering them out was my bread and butter. Then suddenly everything got automated by real-time software solutions like RizRT. I had to adapt and find new income sources to compensate for it. That was also the time when brand and ad agencies lacked motion design knowledge. And this is where I stepped in to create motion design for websites and social media. But what about the veterans? And now, me included? I don't know. I can only speak for myself. As a tech geek, I'm totally stoked about generative AI. It's a Star Trek dream come true for me.
Computer, show me a rectangular conference table.
Reduce the height of the table by 25%.
However, I'm not young anymore. I don't have all the time in the world and my priorities have shifted. Everyone who watched my average video knows that I don't want to chase every trend anymore. Anyways, I do experiment with the AI tools, but just superficially, not investing too much time in them, because my understanding of the perfect generative AI tool is that you tell, show, think what you have in your creative mind, and then get what you want. As simple as possible.
Hello, computer.
Just use the keyboard.
How quaint.
What's also crucial for me is that you have the full creative control down to each pixel. Sure, there is Comfy UI and ControlNet that makes things easier. Still, you need time to figure them out. And Sora may be the beginning of something that comes close to what I imagine for AI, that replaces all the complicated crutches to get the maximum control over your generated video. Speaking of which, this, by the way, just popped up on my X, formerly known as Twitter. It's called Fabled Prism, where they claim designers control generative AI, and it has a timeline that seems to address the motion designers. It also says design and animate in a real-time partnership with generative AI. You see, things change every day right now. And things are changing so fast right now that I cannot keep up with my slow editing. Adobe just announced that it'll integrate Sora into Premiere Pro. Interesting move. Now, back to my video. Fabled Prism has a really nice interface. Reminds me a bit of After Effects, I guess. One last question I want to dive into is, will we all, the newbies, the ones who are in the midst of their careers, or the veterans, like me, be replaced by AI? I think it's highly possible. And I'm afraid it'll happen sooner for the technical professions like rotoscope artists or jobs that are highly repetitive and don't require so much quality like social media mess content or streaming movies. But I also fear that it won't take too long until high-end motion design can be generated by anyone. On the other hand, what gives me hope is that the moment we will be replaced is being delayed after all. There have been big leaps in autonomous driving. But Elon Musk keeps saying for years that full autonomous driving, level 5, without any human interference, is imminent. And if autonomous driving still cannot detect children coming out of nowhere, why should AI rotoscoping be able to track playing kids 100%? And I think, and I could be wrong tomorrow, that's also true for AI-generated videos. Even with Sora and Fable capable of what we're doing, it'll be just a perfect imitation that lacks the human touch. Unless AI really feels what we feel. But how do we know then? Even if someday a humanoid AI convincingly tells you that it loves you, would you trust its love? Okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting too Star Trek philosophical here.
What were you just thinking?
Calculating the maximum pressure I could safely apply to your lips.
Another example, I'm a bit of a musician and I do like making music on my computer, but nothing compares to when I play the keyboard with my own fingers and feel the music. And that's why I'm convinced that people still want to feel what other real people feel through art. Maybe it will be a niche, like listening to vinyl records is a niche. Will Sora be able to make an entertaining blockbuster movie or a perfect explainer animation for a client? Probably yes. Will Sora or any other future development we don't know yet be able to tell a real-life story that truly touches us? What I want to say is that when you love to create, then keep creating. There still will be room for the human touch.
And actually, I literally moved into a room with a human touch, or even into a building with a human touch, to break free from the isolation I endured in my old office, to connect, meet, and share creative ideas with other creative people. This location is a newly built house dedicated to co-working. I also think that I found a good place to better connect with you, on Patreon. There, I can directly share my After Effects knowledge, making-ofs, my freelancer life, and other experiences outside my office. In other words, it's a place where we can hang out and a playground where I can vlog.
Now it's time to go home. And what AI can't do is have a coffee with me. And it is really a bummer that I cannot have a coffee with you, personally. But at least we can have maybe a little chat on Patreon. So please join and support me there. As for AI, Sora, and everything that is coming, I'll tell you what I told you 4 years ago.
Okay guys, take care, keep moving, I'm trying to. See you next time.